Hi, I'm Michael Bergeron with Life in Quebec. Welcome to the second installment of Election Perspectives, a weekly conversation about the 2015 federal election campaign. Earlier on, we spoke with Colin Standish, a former prospective Liberal Party candidate in the Eastern Townships. Now we have Guy Bergeron, who in 2008 ran for the Bloc Québécois in the South Shore. Welcome, Guy.
Pleasure.
Great to have you here. We're going to talk about a few things about the campaign, but we'll start very broadly.
Yep.
You've been watching the campaign now. We're in the second week. What are your thoughts and impressions so far?
If I focus mainly on week two, I would say that evidently the Nigel Wright, Michael Duffy scandal, if we look at the conservative prism of thing, has taken the whole view for the conservative. I think Stephen Harper would have loved to put that under the rug, literally. It is. I don't know if you watch science fiction or anything, but it's kind of Doctor Who TARDIS. It's the kind of thing that you open the police box and then it will get a whole lot bigger than it seems at first hand. That's what this scandal is about. I think it is the equivalent to what the Airbus scandal was to Brian Mulroney. Even worse, because it affects the nature, the foundation of what the Canadian federal policies are about, the Senate and the way of spending and all of that. Those are supposed to be the people that are the safeguard of the kind of democracy that we have, of the whole institution of parliamentary, of British and inspired parliamentary that we have. And at the same time, this is one of the institutions that Stephen Harper in his early days wanted to simply reform dramatically, if not abolish, but at least reform dramatically by having elections and all. And one of the things that got him is kind of popularity, instead of trying to shake things up in Ottawa, is becoming the biggest joke ever regarding this institution. So I think it won't let go. If we go to the NDP, especially here in Quebec, it's the kind of flip-flop position regarding the pipeline, which in Quebec doesn't stand really well, not at all. And I think this will give a lot of steam to Bloc Québécois about the way that we will be able to question Thomas Mulcair, which is not Tom Mulcair. He's not my friend. I don't call him Tom. I never went hunting with him. It's Thomas Mulcair. He's trying to be another Jack Layton. But with this kind of position of standing on environmental issues and the economics which are affecting Quebec, he's clearly not Jack. For Justin, I think that Mr. Trudeau has simply been a little bit of a bystander, but keeping steady regarding the things. I must admit that I was really pleased with the performance of Justin Trudeau in the first debate, especially his closing speech. I am a sovereignist, independentist, and he had a way to make me feel what it was to be Canadian when I grew up, and how it could be again. So this is a big plus for Justin Trudeau.
Okay, now when you say that, how it made you feel to be Canadian, what do you mean by that?
Well, you see, I grew up as a children of the 80s. I grew up with Pierre Trudeau and the kind of a very open Canada with the legacy of Lester B. Person, which was a very progressive Canada, a Canada that was well placed abroad at the world, that was being known as the conscience of the world regarding international policies and the way that we used to be perceived around the world. And I kind of felt this kind of pride of what was Canada when I grew up, when I was a kid, and which I lost as I became an adult, and as I was seeing the way that with Mitch, I grew up in the Outaouais region near Ottawa. I even went for swimming in Meech Lake later on, and I remember that very well, how it went and how the Canada responded to the way that Quebec wanted to ascertain itself. And in the last 10 years, and even more before that, I think that this kind of respect, or at least willingness to have a certain dialogue and a way to integrate a certain way of thinking that is inherent to Quebecers, that is, I'd say, closer to what people in the West, other people in the BC, by the way, might have. It kind of got lost in translation the last 10 years. And Justin, the way he talked about that, it got me a little bit deeper. And also the kind of promise that he made about reforming the electorate, the voting process by integrating a more of proportionality in aspect in the way. This reaches me a lot. It almost made me think, okay, I could maybe vote for that, but then he went to the Loi de la clarté référendaire, the clarity bill.
Yes.
And this just breaks it for me.
That just went in a different direction for you.
Well, I mean, we have governments that have trouble having 27-30% to get elected, and they will say to a whole nation, you can't have emancipation, you can't decide things for yourself if you have 50% plus one. Right off the bat, there's a problem there.
Okay, well, let's focus on Quebec for a minute now.
Yeah.
And if we can just sort of leverage your Bloc Québécois background, in 2011, the Bloc was almost wiped out off the map with the so-called orange wave of the NDP. And Gilles Duceppe lost his seat that he had held for more than 20 years. Mm-hmm. Realistically, do you think that the Bloc can make a comeback?
When was it again that the Progressive Conservative got almost wiped out, having two
Talk to us about
members? There was Jean Charest, and there was another one. Has anybody in the Rock and the rest of Canada questioned that the Conservative might or might not have their place in the political spectrum of Canada? It's the same thing about the Bloc Québécois. It's democracy. And yes, well, I think there are a lot of people who are Blockists who might have started thinking about a lot of things and may say, okay, I'm one of them. At one point, I'm saying, okay, is on the federal theater something else that could be happening to me? And I started looking elsewhere. I watched at the NDPs. Centralism in NDPs is something that's non-negotiable. It will shrink the importance of Quebec in the federation if it is elected by a lot of ways. Okay, there is the declaration of Sherbrooke, but I don't remember seeing Thomas Mulcair even mentioning the Declaration of Sherbrooke since Jack Layton passed away. The Conservatives and the Liberal Party. Conservatives are a little bit regionalist, but in a very, very, very archaic kind of way. The Liberal Party is, there's no question that they want to give a little bit more distinction or open the Constitution or whatever. So basically what I think the problem is right now is there's a color missing in Ottawa. We have orange, we have red, we have two kinds of blue, one from Quebec, one for the rest of Canada.
We have green.
We have green, yes, I forgot green. Green, which is kind of very, very interesting in a way, but the Bloc has pretty much the same positions as the Green Party. But there is a vacuum regarding a reform of the whole Canadian institutions that would give a lot more autonomy to the different regions of Canada.
Okay, so how do we fill that vacuum?
Well, actually, it's kind of you have to mix red and blue. You have to get purple, let's call it like that. And I think that what would need to be is a kind of political structure, partisan structure, that would kind of integrate the Bloc idea about the regions and have some kind of proposition that would reshape Canada in really having more autonomy, not only for Quebec, but for the West, For the Maritimes, that could be integrated as a whole. For Ontario, Manitoba could be more attached to the prairies, I don't know. And even for the First Nation, that would be some kind of a real federation that could really work out on new, not so new, but real references according to the federation that we can have, for instance, in Germany or in other parts of the world, and kind of take a step back for the British parliamentaries institution that are some kind of relics from colonial times. I think that it's not only in Quebec that we can see that there are some insatisfactions regarding the way that Canada has been running right now, and we can see directly with the percentage of voting citizens.
These are interesting proposals for change, but if we take it back a little bit, back to the campaign, right now we're looking at polls telling us that it's really a three-way race, and we have the three main parties pretty much neck and neck. Why do you think
Not in
they're
Quebec.
so
Quebec,
close?
it's a
Well, let's look at in general.
21%, which is.
Let's look in general across
better.
Canada and why you think that is, and then about Quebec. Let's take Canada first.
For Canada, I think it's. How can I say that? I think that people want to change, but they want to change, but still, the conservative party has been there for what, 10, 11 years. So it kind of got the kind of the friend, the neighbor that you're accustomed to have. That you don't really like what it does on the. Kind of not happy with what it really does, but it has also some kind of effect on you, but you can live with that, okay? But at the same time, you know that there could be something better. Why exactly is it so close right now? I think that some of the really hard positions that our government has are not standing really well, especially in the international theater. But then again, also I don't think that a lot of people really took it well that they kind of decided to go into election so rapidly
with such a long campaign.
Such a long campaign. I'm not sure that that it stands real well, but it's going to be like we say, it's going to be a long campaign. It's going to be a marathon. It's not going to be a sprint. So I really don't have a kind of interpretation exactly as how it is right now, but I think also it's because that there is no clear leader that stands out at this moment.
Which party is playing better in Quebec?
So far, it's hard to tell. It's really hard to tell. The thing is that in Quebec, the media. It's gonna be a media campaign. It's gonna be a campaign that is gonna have who's the leader, that's gonna have the best clips, the best commentaries, that's gonna be able to stand out. It's a lot in French we call it la politique spectacle. In English I don't remember what's the
we have all kinds of expressions like that, yeah.
But it's kind of show politics, and I think that. Right now, whether in Quebec or probably elsewhere, but I think in Quebec it's even more present, that we are kind of waiting to see what's going to happen next. The stage is being set. Is the Bloc doing better? I don't know. It doesn't get the airtime or the attention that it used to get. Accordingly or not, I don't know. But it's clearly not having the emphasis that it once was. I think the NDP, depending on where you are in the province, let's say here in Quebec, the radio are all over the Conservatives, especially talk radio. They do it opinion radio, but actually it's for a lot of the radio hosts, it's more propaganda radio. here in Quebec, the liberal doesn't is almost absent from the media, which is kind of a shame. I must admit, because they do have very interesting things to say. I actually had the visit at my home from the candidate riding for Quebec, and this is a very interesting candidate. He is head of the economic department in Laval, and I'm just thinking, why we haven't heard about this guy more, because he clearly has some competence. He clearly have a lot of experience that could be really interesting, not only for Quebec but in Ottawa. This is kind of minister material candidate, but we don't hear about it. We don't hear about the other candidates at all. We hear about the star. We won't hear about Gérard Deltel, which is a close friend to a lot of the people in the media here in Quebec. I'm wondering if it's the same thing all across Canada.
Personality politics is just a reality.
Mm-hmm.
If you look back to the orange wave that we spoke about earlier with the NDP, a lot of that seemed to be based on the personality of Jack Layton, who was leader at the time.
Of course. Well, everybody wanted to have a beer with Jack.
Well, that's what they said at the time, exactly. Now, you said Thomas Mulcair, not Tom Mulcair, he's not a friend of yours. He's the new guy, but the focus often is on the leader. Okay.
Yes.
In my case, quick anecdote, I got a phone call from Stephen Harper this morning. It was, of course, a recorded message. But I don't
got
know.
one by Tom, by Uncle Tom.
I haven't had a visit or a phone call from my candidate. So how do we get the candidates to come out of the woodwork?
Oh boy, this is well. It depends. Every candidate has its own personality. I will speak for experience. For me, for instance, I was very comfortable with meeting people. I had it was kind of instinct for me to go talk to people, ask a few questions, and not being too insistent, and being able to retrieve myself when I was feeling that I was being sucked in a kind of black hole about, okay, so you're the guy from the block, I will spend 20. You have to be able to sense that and to retrieve yourself easily. And if you go in public spaces, it's even tougher, because you can meet anybody. And you can have you can get. I got caught at some point when I was eating in a crossfire between with some adversaries, and I was very feisty at the time. I was young, and well, not everyone responds the same way. Some are very comfortable about knocking on the door, talking about that. Some are more comfortable about just having a campaign that you will go to Club Rotary or these kind of places and have some prepared meetings. It doesn't really think. But the thing is that we have to ask ourselves, what does Canada Joe the plumber, if we go to the Joe Canada, or in the States was Joe the plumber, that wasn't Obama, but Joe Canada or the Gaston Quebec, what do they want? Or Jane, or Huguette, do they really want people knocking on their door and saying, hey, vote for me, or everything, or do they want, because that's the thing that we have to think, how can we get the people to show interest in their candidates, and not just the one that is represented by either Thomas, Justin, Gilles, or Stephen, but the other ones. That's a big question. I don't have the answer. That's the thing that first off the bat, I mean, we need to have. I think that one of these. The answer would be about the media, the regional media, the hometown media, to have some kind of way to be forced by laws or regulation about having non-partisan point of view. The opinion radios, well, the thing is that they always feel themselves, we are private owned, we can do whatever we can, or we are not journalists, we are hosts, so we are entitled to having opinions and express them. But when it's only one opinion that is being expressed every single day of every year for 10 years, the only one direction, I mean, doesn't the CRTC have some kind of responsibility about providing a media that can be at least minimally non-biased?
Good food for thought. This is definitely a campaign being fought in the media and on the internet. That's maybe something for another conversation in the future. But
It's a humongous conversation in media.
And we will have that conversation at some point. But just to wrap things up now, it is a long campaign, 11 weeks. This is only week 2. What do you think is going to happen next?
There's going to be some dirt slinging. I think it's going to start. It's going to start earlier than we thought. We are sadly being accustomed to negative publicity, negative message, which was a thing that not so long ago we, as Canadians or as Quebecers, we said, oh, it only happens right side of the borders. It's the Americans that do this kind of politics. But now we are being accustomed to seeing some messages that are quite distasteful. If we look back 20 years ago, having seen, who would have thought that on TV we would have had an ad that would show a bird having a drop on a candidate and having distasteful, or having a PM refer to, if you and I call to Justin, but the PM that will call his adversary by his first name deliberately, doing that and so say it's the child of his father, I think it's kind of distasteful at some point. Is this what we want? Whereas the Canadian spirit as being polite, civilized, and free and gone, eh? I mean, that's something that is part of the equation about that. Not the only thing, but we have to think about how we are doing, or how we are following or indulging in politics. I will say indulging because it is a fact that we have to take pleasure, but at some point, what do we want to see? What do we want to have? This kind of a reflection that we have to start. It has evolved a lot, or devolved a lot in the last 10, 15 years.
I have to politely end it there.
Yeah.
I want to thank you very much for your time, Mr. Bergeron. I know we'll be watching to see what gets slung or not, what happens next in the campaign. It's going to be interesting all the way, I'm sure. And I want to thank you all for watching this edition of Election Perspectives with Life in Quebec.